out there. I spoke with Mike. We know we need parking, additional parking. We know we need bathrooms. And like I said, I spoke with Dale several times that this plan was started with Wade Trim, I think 6 years ago. The original, that plan was kind of in play. And then what happened, Mr. Rooney resigns. Okay, so that plan kind of stopped. Ms. Boyd came on board. Kind of, I think you had a little bit of chit-chat. Kind of fizzed out. So you're looking at a 3 to 4 year span of a plan that started, like meaning a master plan of that whole area, and it kind of died down because of the change of arms. So right now I'm trying to get that plan back up and running, whether it's utilizing Sohio or Wade Trim, but we've got to get a plan out there. Two diamonds, beautiful soccer fields, and a football field, and we don't have any restrooms. Yeah. And not enough parking doesn't make any sense.
And we completely support that. That was my second point.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're focused on these fields, but in the bigger context, all the things that you just said on the infrastructure side are required as well. And we're supportive and willing to help with that in whichever way we can.
And it may go back to, having all the parties in the room again. And I'm not going to say start over, because I think there's a couple of drawings already that exist that made some sense to me. So
yeah, I think, Kim, we did the the group with all the sports groups in early 2016, where we sat down and we identified the needs and we prioritized them. And certainly bathrooms and parking were on the top of the top two on every sports group's list. So, Kevin, I think you were part of that. You'd attest to that. So that's, I think that's clear cut. That's part of the grand plan. And again, whatever we can do to basically support that effort, whether it's, just anything you need on that, we'll help you with that.
I found diagrams from 1996 that Wade Trim did with those fields over there, and there was actually an ice rink that was supposed to be over there too. So, I mean, if we want to go back 23 years, you haven't seen it.
And you recommended we move the ice rink over to the...
No. So, 23 years ago, these were drawn up, these diagrams, and I know there were soccer fields, and there was an ice rink, and there was a concession stand. I was like, wow, these need to be saved, I thought it was interesting 23 years ago. Yes, sir.
A couple things about the delay. Mike and I talked earlier. We didn't know, as we went through these years, we're going to get this additional land over there. And with the fill from West River, it worked out that there's more space over there than there was
to begin with
3 or 4 years ago, which is a good thing. And it's also given Mike and his group a chance to raise funding. So even though it may be 4 or 5 years later, I like the fact that all the ducks seem to be in a row. I said from day one that I want to make sure this is done totally correctly, because it's going to be used for a long time. John Ray.
You're live. All right, good evening, ladies.
Fields to play on first, but we need to find spaces for all these things that we want in there, and then get them as we can afford to get them, because that's too good a space to. Not that we're going to mess it up, but just in case. So, having said that, I'm all in, and I feel bad for you guys because you probably lost 5 or 6 years off your life because you've been fighting like crazy. But we might be to the end, or close to the end.
We're getting close. Close.
Thanks, Jeff.
Okay.
I just have a quick question. It's down the road, obviously, but say you draw your 5-year plan out, and you launch your bathroom, who's paying for that? Is that funded by the football, baseball, soccer programs?
Don't have an answer to that yet. Got to have a plan first.
That's fine. I'm just asking the question.
We've looked into a few programs out there for grant programs. And there are funds available. So I don't have all the details to share with you tonight, but I mean there are for community development programs where you can put this infrastructure, parking, restrooms. They do exist. We just need to work together to go out there and get them. Yep. It's a good question.
I have a question, Kim. Does this vote right here, does this go to the board after us?
Jim, do you need that to come to the board? I believe it does need to go there. So
Better safe than sorry. That's,
I didn't think it did. I
because
thought,
I think in our bylaws, the CRC is responsible for the land, at Commerce
it's
Park.
a recommendation to the township board is what it is. What do you think, Carl?
Yeah, we'll take it to the board. I'll take it to the board at the next meeting.
Better safe than sorry. We'll get 4 votes.
We'll get all votes, I hope.
Yeah. How about 7? Why? Okay, we'll get 7.
Okay, any other questions?
no.
Pat, can you read the
Oh, sorry.
action?
Kyle,
go ahead.
I just have 3 things that I want to communicate. First thing, just a huge thank you to you all for this long, drawn-out process, everything that you've kind of done to get here. I know it's been hard, but I think it's made not just you all, but a lot of things better about the process and just everything that we've thought about. Since the beginning, so that's the first thing, a huge thank you. Second thing is just a concern that I've tried to raise from the beginning. I know I haven't been as involved in this as some other folks on the commission, but I still continue to be concerned about the effects of filling in this land to the wetland behind it, and possibly any effects further up. For instance, Creek goes all the way up to the northeast of the island. Possible flooding in other areas of the island. I know this from experience with my family. My grandparents developed Westcroft Woods, Westcroft Estates. They tried to build some houses, ended up redirecting water in other places, and our family lost a lot of money on it. Our island's like a big clay thing, so it's really hard for water to get off anywhere. So that's something I'm concerned about. I really haven't gotten any answers on if that was thought about or anything like that. So maybe that's a question for Rains. I know an environmental study was done in 2010 about this. It was a very different time when lake levels were much lower than they are right now. So it's just something, it's not for you all, it's just something I feel like we have to be aware of and ask of as this moves forward. So that's the second concern. Then finally, just a hope. I mean, I'm going to be voting in favor of this tonight. Again, a huge thank you to you all. It's going to be really nice to have all the different programs all in one area, and hopefully everyone working together to figure out some of these things like infrastructure. It has the potential to be an incredible space for kids to play together. So I'm really hoping that that's where this all leads. Mm-hmm.
Anybody else?
Are we going to have usage agreements, contracts?
That's
stuff
down the road. Tonight is just, yes, absolutely.
The answer is yes. Kim.
Yes, yes.
Just one thing to back up Kyle over there. Thank you guys for everything. I know it's been a long road for both sides, and I'm happy to see that it's finally going to come to a vote for you guys, and hopefully it'll go in your favor. It's all good things for our community. Anything that we can do to help our kids to get out there and play sports and be active and do anything aside from sitting in front of a computer screen or a cell phone is it's definitely good. So, yep, good luck.
Anybody else? We good? We'll do this as a roll vote.
Yeah, if you could just read the item again and call for a roll.
So we'll put a motion out there to vote and approve the designated area at Commerce Park designed by CE Rains Engineers for the purpose of Gyra baseball, softball to pursue funding and future build of 2 ball diamonds for the use of recreational softball and baseball. I'm going to start with Kyle. Yay or nay?
Yay.
Brandon? Yay. Rich?
Yay.
Wendy?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yay.
Ethel? All right. We're good. The motion what? Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
I motion that we vote and approve our vote that we just voted on.
I think I can, yeah, all right, we got it?
I second it.
All right, thank you. All right. 10B is if the land is approved by the CRC, Gyra Baseball Softball must present actual specs, drawings, and realistic timeline to the CRC for a vote and approval. So we know they're going to come back with the drawings, but we still need to vote on this. Did everybody kind of understand that? They're going to come back to us with drawings.
Actual drawings.
Yeah.
Right.
And the timeline before they break dirt, which
Right.
is like next, or this spring, I would think.
Spring.
June, summer, yeah. Any questions about this? It's like we already approved the land, so I'm kind of the verbiage here.
We're just,
All right. going
Right.
with that.
Just put
All
that
right.
to the vote. That way, everybody Gyra understands what the CRC is requesting. Okay, and if the CRC feels that we don't need drawings from them or an actual timeline, that's when you would speak up right now. But I feel that we all agree.
Yeah, we all know. We're just going through the motion of doing
Correct.
this. So I need somebody to put a motion out there about, you guys know what we're talking about, right, Pat?
Yeah.
I will second that motion. I just want to be absolutely clear about what those drawings mean. Those don't just mean like those are actual engineer approved drawings, township approved everything. So yeah.
We would take our drawings and have them submitted through the township's engineering department.
Exactly. Yeah, that's.
Submit them that way, and then
So clarifying that, I second that motion to go ahead with
I
that.
don't think
vote.
anyone first it.
I can put the motion out there at something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Brandon?
Aye.
Aye. Rich?
Yay.
Wendy? Kyle? I'm sorry, Kevin? Ethel? Okay. 10C. If land is approved by the CRC for field development, all costs of engineering, development, construction, and maintenance will be absorbed by the Gyra Baseball Softball Organization. We need to vote and approve that.
Can we know what those costs are?
Well, we can, but the question is, they're going to pay for it and not us.
That's correct. That is that.
In simple terms,
Well,
yeah.
I think what
We
his
have an estimate from them, and that was presented. I think everybody got a copy of that.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. So, and it's still, you guys are still raising money. So,
Right.
But we understand as a CRC that we are basically giving them recreational land. Okay, that land belongs to the recreation department. They are funding in full 110% the field development, the engineering, the whole shebang. Okay, so that's pretty much
I think
it.
his concern was probably more along the lines of if they dissolved and we had to maintain it ourselves, just so we're aware of what it would cost us if we had to maintain it.
Right, and we.
nominal maintenance costs, if I could.
Yeah, go ahead.
Cutting the grass is probably the one that is consistent. If we install the irrigation system, there's a cost for that in terms of water and then lights. So there would be a cost associated with that.
Right.
So each one of those are probably the three biggest costs of maintenance, and they're all scalable. We won't know to what extent we're going to build in year 1, 2, or 3 until we get funding. Lights would likely be the last thing that we would put in, but the cost would escalate as we move forward. So we'd make sure we had ongoing funding before we pursued each one of those.
My question was just is can we know what's being put into it as it's being done?
Absolutely.
I make a motion that we vote for action item C.
Hold on. I have a question now because you just put something up there about. I know you guys aren't going to fold or crumble or anything like that, this group, but if something happened, we're responsible for all that, right? For the maintenance on that, the grass, the electricity, the watering, and all that stuff. Yeah, all right. Rich put the motion. I need a second, please. Somebody second. Kevin second. Kyle, you vote on this, please.
Aye.
Brandon.
Aye.
Rich.
Yay.
Wendy. Kevin. Ethel. All right. So moved. D. Oh, Jim, I'm so sorry. Oh. All right. We'll let you put the motion out for D, Mr. Nelson.
Chad, if I could.
Yes, sir.
Our organization was founded in 1988, and we've been growing from that point forward. So I can't guarantee that we're not going to be here in 20 years, but as long as there's kids play baseball and softball, somebody will be here.
Oh, they'll want to build a golf course over there next. Oh, sorry. Should have brought that up. Oopsie. All right.
About?
Roundabout, yeah. 10D. It has been requested by Gyra Baseball that the current fields, 5 at the high school, middle school, 2 at Park Lane, 1 at Meridian, and 1 at Sacred Heart be funded and maintained by seasonal recreation staff at approximately cost of $2,000 to $2,500. Vote and approve staff and funds for the 2019 season only. because we're still going to be using the Sacred Heart for this year, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's our intention.
But in 2020, then, shouldn't that amount go down if they're not using Sacred Heart just by a little bit?
Well, I mean, there's been, we've had some conversations with the CRC and how did this come about that, recreation took care of the fields? I had to learn about it myself. And I know that's something Mr. Rooney put into play. And, his goal was to help all those user groups as best that he could with the funds that he had. He gave to soccer and football, paying the water bills for both of those areas for many years. I think at one point recreation was cutting the soccer fields until soccer said, we can sustain ourselves and we can cut our own grass, and football, same thing. Mr. Rooney did do those great things for all organizations. There's no doubt in my mind that his heart was there. But within, do you need to jump in?
Only to say that we're kind of doing this backwards. There's a motion. You need to vote on the motion.
Oh, for discussion?
We're kind of discussing the first.
Sorry.
Udo Connor is going to be on my case if we don't do this correctly.
So,
Motion is second, then we'll discuss heck out of it, then we'll vote.
Right. So we need and that was another one that I always question with Robert's rules. You put a motion out there, but then you discuss it afterwards. So we're not voting on it yet. We're just discussing it. So I need a motion for 10D that I just read. Jim, you put the motion? All right. Second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Now we go.
all right. So going back to what I was saying, and again, when I first got here, and I spoke with soccer, with Kevin, and I spoke with football, and I saw how much money was in the bank when I got here, I said, whoa. I was a little scared. Talked to both organizations. I said, how do you guys feel about maintaining your properties and taking care of the water bills? And both organizations agreed to do that to help with the recreational budget. Every little bit helps. They paid their water bills for 2 years now. So I think where I'm at right now is that, I'm okay with doing this for one more year, because each year we got to evaluate the budget and what can we support and what can't we support. It's not saying I'm going to give more to baseball, nothing to soccer, and nothing to football. Okay, you're looking at 9 fields that they need some assistance with. So if we could do this for one more year for baseball, so they can get their program off the ground, I feel that would be a nice gesture from the CRC. And then I may get a question from football and so, well, what are you going to do for us? Okay. If it gets to that point that soccer needs some assistance with whatever it may be, we may be financially stable this year to help them with some projects in that same dollar amount. And I would do the same for football with that same dollar amount. I'm an equal person. I want all user groups to have equal treatment. But they need to know right now, as they do their budget for this year, if my 2 kids that did the fields last year are going to come back. And that's something you guys do need to know.
And if I could address that
Yep.
issue, our organization, currently we support 4 different sports. We just added wrestling program along with football, cheer, our basketball program, which is in season now, and our baseball, softball programs. The vast majority of the infrastructure and facilities are provided by the school systems, the township, Grosse-Ile Township schools. So, and that's true with all of our fields, with one exception, and that's Sacred Heart Field. So they maintain those fields, if you will, to the degree that they cut the grass. Their teams are playing on those fields during about half of our season or somewhat. So what we're talking about here is chalking the fields. And chalk is one of those things that disappears after you use it if it rains. So it has to be done almost every day. And it doesn't take long to do, but it has to be done in the middle of the day. and it's Monday through Thursday. So it's very difficult for us to find a contractor to come out and do that kind of work. It's pretty straightforward work, but again, you're on school property. You have to have access to facilities to move the chalk around, so you just don't store it at the field. So there's some logistics involved in why the township was an ideal partner for us to support that. Again, that's literally the only support that these youth programs get from the actual millage that the families pay against the recreation budget. So I just want to be clear that all of the other support is either from the school or from the fees that the kids pay to play.
Yep.
So this is the only expense the township recreation department has against any youth sports.
Yep. So I'd like to add to that, in baseball, this is the one sport that is basically requesting the service, and it's greatly appreciated. We've thought about, okay, how do we go out? Can we get our coaches to do this? And we struggle to get coaches as it is today. Part of that is, just the timeline for these people to physically get off work, come to the games, and now you just go on and say, hey, by the way, you got to chalk your field prior to the game. It's not going to go over very well. So with this, I'd add that, out of the baseball program, we have 350 participants every year. And out of those 350 participants, 90+% of them are Groesville residents. So, to me, it's I know it's an expense and it's a burden. And Kim, thank you for, continuing to do this, and I hope we can do it indefinitely, and hope things improve with your budget. And we did do some improvements over last year. I mean, we did put things in with the pegs and so on, and make it easy for your guys to adjust bases and so on. And I think your expense went down from one year down to the next. So
Cut in half.
yeah, so
Well,
we're trying to help
actually.
you with this. We do recognize it's a big benefit, and for us to contract it on the outside, I think it's significantly more. So, I give I know I don't have a vote in this, but it's a long way. For $2,500, it goes a long way with the community. You're basically spreading this across 350 or the families of 350 children. So greatly appreciated, and certainly would appreciate your vote and support on this.
I just want to make a comment. If anybody wonders what that noise is, we've had a helicopter flying around here for the last hour.
I'm sure if you check social media, there's probably 1,000 complaints already.
Yeah.
And I've got a meeting at this for waiting for me.
But pay for that chalking. But he's got his helicopter. All right.
Hey, one of these helicopters drop chalk for you.
So does everybody understand what we're voting on here for the next?
Yes.
Put a motion out there. We seconded it. We discussed it. Any more questions? Anybody? Kyle, we'll start with you.
Aye.
Brandon?
Aye.
Rich?
Yay.
Wendy? Kevin? No. Ethel?
I think I'm just going to abstain.
All right. Jim? Yay. All right. Motion passes. Majority.
Kevin, you have concerns? I think my whole concern is that football and soccer have been I'm going to speak for soccer. That soccer has been self-funding themselves for 5 years. We do it 10 months out of the year. We contract a company to do it. I mean, I got to think there's a way for somehow you guys to factor that into your budget. Being on the CRC too, we need to save money. $2,500 is a lot of money. We did used to get money from the city. We asked them, we didn't want them to do it anymore, so we self-fund soccer program. I just think you guys can do it yourself. That's why I say no.
Well, that's why it says vote and approve for
But
1 year.
Kim made a good point. The's going to come a point where I'm not president of soccer anymore. As much as you guys may not believe this, I've talked to Brad. I think this is a good idea. I think it's good for the community. But then you have other programs that are going to come back to you and ask you for stuff too, because soccer's hitting me up. I'm not president of soccer anymore. I do the books and that's about it. So they're going to come back and say, we just lost a field. How can we recoup that? So you're going to get the questions. So my opinion is if you have the money to potentially go build $100,000 worth of fields, you can afford to put another $2,500 in the chalking.
It is the fact that your program is entirely on recreation land and you don't pay for these
and football pays $1 a year.
No, they don't. They don't pay anything in order to.
Soccer by using the recreation's land.
Okay, but we don't bill the rec department to do anything. They don't give us a dime. I'm not fighting you on it. I voted no. That's my opinion. I've been sitting with you guys for 7 years talking about baseball, and I've been through 150 meetings. I'm not arguing with you. I think it's a great idea. 6 other people voted yes. I voted no. It doesn't really matter. I'm just saying, as part of the CRC, and this is what I told my soccer board last night, I'm not going to get in front of the committee here and present for soccer. I'm not. I'm going to tell them if they want something from the CRC, they need to come present themselves. I'm just one person. $2,500 when we're talking about saving money and paying for ice rinks and doing all this stuff, that's a lot of money. So the vote passed, I think, 6-1, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, I guess it isn't so much your vote as much as it is in comparison, I guess, the other sports. The recreation budget is approximately $1 million on the upside on revenue. As Mike said, we're supporting 350 families of kids for $2,500 of take back from the township. We think that's reasonable.
We have 400 kids. We take nothing from the township. If we're going to go tit for tat, I mean, that's fine.
You get different. You have a travel program. You have a lot of off-island kids. It's a different scenario.
We've got 195 kids in rec travel. 194 of them are for Grosse Ile.
Only one off-island kid?
Yeah, in our rec in-house program.
Oh, I'm talking about your travel program.
It's probably 60-40 split. We freely admit that. I'm not going to argue with you. So your vote, I'm all for the baseball fields. I am. Just because I voted I don't think we should pay $2,500 doesn't mean I'm not for the idea. Great, have at it. Just do it the right way. That's all I'm concerned about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, that's all.
I'm reading here from our February 5th meeting, and under this field maintenance here, you have that you pointed out the baseball season runs from March to June, but questioned who would be responsible for maintaining the fields during the off season. Is that cover all of this? Because it says here that Mr. Cronell indicated that Gyro would assume all costs for maintaining the field year round.
Right. That would be, they're going to absorb all the costs for those 2 fields going over there. And we're going to pay to line them one more season around town.
Okay, because that's
The other
where they
fields,
come in,
yeah.
where Kim said that they shared 2017 Recreation Department paid $3,500 to chalk the fields, rake the fields, and move the bases. In 2018, they paid $1,800.
It dropped down because the kids, we had kids that knew what they were doing last year, so they actually got out there in the morning and they got the job done. Like he said, it doesn't take a long time. It's so, you got a certain group that knew how to do the fields, and then some other kids weren't so good at it. That's why it costs more.
That's the reason I kind of just laid that off on there.
But they are going to absorb the costs going forward, and
For the new fields, right? So when we're talking about those meeting minutes from February 5th, it was the understanding that we were talking about the new fields, and yes, we will take care of the responsibility for all the costs associated with those fields year round. Yep.
It sounded like it was kind of flip-flop. Thank you.
The baseball softball organization only uses the fields up through the middle of July. It's not even half the summer. So we plan on having, rental opportunities with travel teams and adult softball to offset the cost of the maintenance of the field.
I know Greg Marion at one point said he'd get out there and cut the field. So, if it comes down to it, give him a call. Greg, you're not here tonight.
You catch that in the minutes, please. All right.
Are we good? Discussion items. Can we move on?
All right, thank you, Chad.
Thank you.
Yes, guys. Morgan, you have anything you want to bring to discussion items? No? Athol? Calvin? Oh, this is individual comments. I have nothing. Wendy?
No.
Rich?
Yeah, I've got one thing. As you guys might know, I'm the president of the Grosse Ile Fire Association, and in September we're planning our annual golf outing, which is our big fundraiser for the fire association. Right now we're looking at probably September 14th for the date on that. The tickets are usually we have to work out all the fine details, but right now the tickets are usually $100 per player, which includes a steak dinner after the golf event. It usually starts at about noon. We golf until around dinner time, and we have raffles, we have awards and hole-in-one prizes, and just like most typical golf outings. The difference with this one is it supports your local firefighters. So I will get you more details on that in the near future, but I just wanted to put a bug in everyone's ear that early September, mid-September, I think September 14th would be our date, which I have to hash out with. And also it's at West Shore Country Club. So it's a nice golf course, nice facility, so it's supporting them and us. So that's all I've got.
Why don't you guys do a fireman calendar like everybody else does around here?
You know, if I had a nickel for every person that wants me to pose.
Oh, well, I don't. You could just design the layout. Brandon, I got a nickel. Kevin's going to loan me the order. Brandon, anything?
No comments, but
Kyle.
throw in a shirt for that.
No comments. I know I went backwards on that. I'm sorry about that. Any extended public comments? We just did the commissioner comments. The next meeting will be March 28th. Oh, I'm sorry, Steve, Mr. Lemoyne. Come on up and say who you are.
Hello, Steve Lemoyne, 8410 Hampton, proud parent of the wonderful Morgan Frost. Great job tonight. So I'm just curious if you have time to get into it or not. That's great, your choice. But as we look at the fill area continuing, as I understand, I guess northeast as it continues, how does it work with zoning, and how does it work with the decision that it is just part of the rec department land? Has it already been designated that way? Is there a formal designation that has to take place as all this fill area?
Recreation land.
So how far, no matter how far back you cut, it's just automatically rec land?
It is, I believe,
See the diagram there next to you? Is that what you're talking about,
as far
Steve?
as
Yeah.
going north, as we follow that path,
Because they're going back 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 feet, and we're just assuming it's rec land, or is there someone making
There
a
is
conscious decision
no,
that?
there's a mark out there. I will mark that out there. Does that make sense? I don't know exactly where it's at, but I know going towards the football field, the ending point is the white fence of the football field. You know where the fence is? That's where recreation land stops. As far as going north, I don't know that exact pinch point, to be honest. I don't know. I haven't gone that far back. Yeah.
There were some colored little flags wrapped around some things back.
And so how far in this picture, northwest, does it go into all those trees?
I don't know the exact, I can get an answer for you.
Does it go across the water? Does it?
I ask the appropriate people and get back to you. I don't want to answer that if I don't know the exact.
Yeah, I'd just be curious, and I think it would be helpful for this group here in the community that's watching, if there'd be another line, let's say a red line that shows actually how far whoever's made the decision rec land goes.
Yep,
Then they
I
would
can bring
know
that.
how much land is still available, where they could go. You could be walking through that maybe right now in that space.
Sure.
And just with walking past, but no one knows. It seems a little vague, especially as this continues to go northeast on this diagram.
I can get that drawn out.
And I do know a little bit about it, again, from if you just go downstairs and get that map for open space, it does show kind of the outline of the rec area. It goes a little bit past, there's a path that goes around the wetlands over there. I would say, 100 feet or something, and then it kind of curves over. So it's not a lot that it expands more to the west. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You been back there, Steve, and walked around back there?
Before there was fill, it was very tough to walk around back there. So I've had that experience many, many times, and the amount of poison ivy was horrendous. And then post-fill, I actually saw the fill process. I was a little disappointed with the fill process. It's pretty nasty stuff that's under there, from big pieces, chunks of road, to asphalt, to everything else, big tree stumps. I mean, it's not easy stuff to go through. So definitely some work has to be done. But curious to just see how far we can go, and people that want to walk around or do different things, maybe there is some space to go. But it was not easily accessible. If there is a red line downstairs, it was not.
Oh yeah, no, it's not. There is like a path that's been pretty well maintained that goes around the wetlands and then goes up to Hawthorne, and and kind of just borders that. So, but I'm with you. Yeah, the fill is. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
Steve, I'll get those answers to you. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Nope. Okay. Are we all good for the next meeting on March 28th? 6 p.m. in this room. I would like to a motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:36. Athol, second.
Aye.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Volunteer for your